We just completed the first green public transport facility in Cape Town, in Kraaifontein area. First of its kind in South Africa, also now been regarded as the benchmark for all transport facilities that the City of Cape Town will embark on. Everyone is always waiting for the first successful pilot project. We've just completed one, and hopefully there will be many more of them coming out in the future. So what do we mean by green? We obviously had to ask this question when we started to design the facility. It boils down to the using of resources. There's always two parts to that. Is you use something and then we always generate something in return. And what we generate is not always that good either. Like we use water and we generate sewage, or we use oxygen and we generate carbon dioxide. So we looked at that. And basically the two-tone approach is use less of the resources that's available and see if you can find alternative sources, more sustainable sources to what you want to use. So when we looked about using less resources, we again said there's two aspects to it. You can control the supply. In other words, that's what's available, so that's all that they can use or the user can use. Or you can ask the user to use less. It asks for an attitude, so that's always the more difficult one to achieve. So what we did was, in this instance, is we aimed for both of them, and hopefully we could hit the mark somewhere in between. With regards to the alternative sources, again, two ways to go about it. We can say we need to find an alternative source, like the sun for the generation of electricity. It's there and it's limitless, unlimited. Or you can try and extend the life of your current source that you're using by reusing of grey water, etc. So we looked at both these two facets and incorporated in the design. So let's look at it in a bit more detail. What did we do there at the taxi rank facility? We looked at the three major services, electricity, water, and then one of them was actually a give back service, which is the generation of sewer. We looked at those three and see what can we do to make this a more environmental friendly facility. In electricity, if I can refer back to our two-step approach, the obvious alternative source for electricity is the sun. We had a large roof space covering most of the taxi rank and loading area, and we could put as many solar panels on it that we can use. So we looked at what this facility can need, and we actually provided panels and harvesting the source for more than we can use. Whatever we over-generated, we're storing in a battery pack for times when the sun doesn't shine. We know in Cape Town sometimes the sun don't shine. And also having the option that if the grid allows, the facility can actually sell electricity back to the grid. We hope that that will also realize one day. In terms of usage, we said we control the use, we control the supply to the end user. Everything there is of a more user-friendly product. All the lights, the water heating, everything that's there has got a green star rating in itself. So, and that's simply how we control the usage. What did we do for the users themselves to grow the attitude of using less? There's a display panel in the public area where everyone can see how the solar system operates and how effective it is. We can actually measure on an ongoing basis what percentage of electricity did actually come from the grid. We also designed the system in such a way that if the grid allows and the policy is in place, we can actually sell back electricity to the City of Cape Town with very little changes that we need to do. We can actually increase that capacity to sell back by placing more panels on the roof. Everything incorporated already in the basic design of it all. So users can see how they use less, and hopefully that will help in educating them and grow the attitude of using less. Looking at the other two services, we're going to talk about that in one because they're related, water and the generation of sewer. We said, let's look at the bigger user of the service or generator of this service, and that's definitely the facility's got a car wash. We said that's the one. Car wash facilities use a lot of water and they generate a lot of sewer because all of that water goes into the sewage system. So I said, how are we going to deal with this. We said let's split the car wash into two sections. We said there's a section where we wash the car and there's a section where we rinse the car. And we argued that the section that you wash the car, we can accept soapy water for that. We don't need clean water. On the other side where we rinse the car, you probably do need cleaner water. So looking at the rinsing side, we said, okay, we need clean water. We've got the municipality as a supply and an alternative source as rainwater we can probably harvest. So we said, let's use both of them. On the rainwater harvesting, we said we'll catch up all the roof water and all the pavement water, concentrate it into one side of the facility, have a storage facility where we store at least a week's worth of washing clean water. When that's depleted, we'll go to municipal water. Actually, in a big portion of the year, reducing the usage of the municipal source. So we said the next thing is, let's look at the second tier of our approach. How can we control the usage on the user side? We know the biggest problem that they sit on car washes like these is people leaving taps open. So we said that's what we're going to do. We'll control the usage by installing on-demand taps where a tap is only on for 10 seconds after you've left it and then it shuts off automatically. Also low pressure supply. So when a tap is open, it doesn't gush out water, actually contributing to a lot of losses. We said low pressure, you just use what you need. On the washing side of the wash bay, we said there's two approaches. We're definitely going to look at recycling the water. What are we going to do? Are we going to clean it? That always results into a facility that's really difficult to maintain. So we argued that in a car wash like this, on the washing side, we can accept soapy water. When are we going to add soap to the water in any case? So we're just reusing the soapy water for a cycle of 3 weeks, but both from the car wash and what comes from the rinsing bay. And after 3 weeks, we deposit into the sewer system, actually reducing the sewage generation by 1 day of sewage versus 3 weeks. So that brings us to the two basic questions. How are we doing? And actually, can we do more? On the first question, how are we doing? I think we're doing better than we think. The things that get measured, or there are things we do engineering-wise that doesn't get measured. And I'll cite 3 examples. First of all, we know that most municipal networks can't account for almost 30% of the water that they put into the network. If we fix those problems and those networks, it's already 30% of our source that we can actually put back or actually reclaim. We can't account for those water. It's a small thing, but it doesn't get measured on a green scorecard. It's got a massive impact. If you take all the projects that are in a town being green, that's got a major impact on the whole town, not just on the area that's been focused on. Similar to the reuse of treated effluent in municipal areas. We know many people will frown upon that, but that's also a big part of your source that you can actually put back into your demand. It actually makes sense from various angles that you look at it. Those don't get measured on a green scorecard. Also, another one is if a structural engineer designs a structure 10 or 20% with 20% less material just because he's a good engineer. There's actually no way of measuring that. But surely that's got a massive impact on a structure and a building. Those things don't get measured. And I think if we find mechanisms to broaden the way how we measure the whole greening initiative, we'll find that we're actually doing a little bit better than we think. Oh, the second question, can we do better? Obviously, we can always do better. And I think the big opportunity is when we find a way to focus on the user. If everyone can start having the attitude to use less, I think the effect of that will surpass in greatness the combination of combining all the projects that's been done so far. I don't know how you do it, but health and safety sits with a similar problem. So how do you get end users to understand the impact that they will have if they start focusing on using less? That's where it is. Thank you.